Hello and welcome to this little Spalluccipedia video, another dip in sort of like the themes and topics and people and places which seem to crop up in my ever-expanding universe for my investigator of paranormal, Sam Spallucci. Now, if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, brilliant, thanks for coming along. But please, if you can, give it a quick like, give it a quick subscribe. It makes the little fairies in my imagination feel so much happier. So, moving on from sort of like almost backwards from the ridiculous to sublime, as it were. So I want to have a little chat about death. One of the darker topics, I suppose, which crops up in the world of Sam. If you look through literature through the ages, you look through religion, lifestyle, wherever, death is always there. It's one of those big constants. Now, at the time of filming this, we haven't worked our way around it. Could be interesting if we could, and that's a whole different sort of philosophical video, I suppose. Not even going to go there, but you know, it comes to each and every one of us. So it's quite obvious when I'm dealing with somebody who is a paranormal investigator that death is going to crop up quite a bit. Time of recording this, I'm just getting Sam Spallucci Bloodline, the 6th book in the series, ready for publishing. And there's a lot of death in there, because we're talking werewolves, so there's quite a bit of evisceration, there's quite a bit of sort of like decapitation, all sorts. I mean, if you read that, you might want to sort of like, hide under the duvet when you go to bed that night. But we see it all the way through the other books as well. You have antagonists meet sticky ends, you have people we love, people we like die, either through sort of like horrific means like we have in Bloodline, but also through natural causes, again, like we have in Bloodline. I think the way I tackle death in Sam's books is, yes, there's inevitability of it, but it's very much down to us how we approach it, and specifically how Sam approaches it. And poor Sam, you know, I'm gradually chipping away at him. You know, imagine he's this big camel, he's having more and more little bits of straw put on his back until eventually, you know, you expect him to break. And we see glimpses of this throughout the books. For example, you know, spoiler just here, in Shadows of Lancaster, there is a side character who meets a horrific end at the hands of this horrid person. And rather than doing, you know, what might consider to be the legal thing, Sam just turns away and lets another force kill that person. Because as far as Sam's concerned, you know, it's the right thing to do. What else should he do? This guy is a fine, upstanding member of society. You know, he's got away with loads of things already, so, you know, let's leave it to the supernatural being to take revenge. And again, we see this crop up a number of times. Bloodline, similar sort of ending. And don't want to say too much about ruining it because you've not read it. But sometimes Sam takes it into his own hands. He has killed. He kills in the very first book, and this comes back to haunt him time and time again. And Sam, I think, is very much aware of his own mortality and those of who are around him and those whom he loves. I think this is one of his driving forces. We know that he has a son, and this son gets taken away from him, put in this hell dimension. And Sam is constantly wanting to get him back. And I think there's this fear that, you know, what if he fails? What if he dies himself and his son is left there? You know, and Sam knows there's an afterlife. He's encountered people who come from this afterlife. How would he feel spending an afterlife knowing that he had failed his son? So death is obviously not the final chapter, as it were, in Sam's world, because, like I say, he knows there's an afterlife. He's met ghosts, he's met people who've died. But it is somewhere where you're going to go and somewhere where you're going to have to spend the rest of eternity knowing the things you've done wrong, as well as the things you've done right. So it is very much a driving force for Sam, especially when he is surrounded by death. You know, he's seen so many people die. You know, I think I commented in one of the books that Lancaster's turned into a bit of a Midsummer, or a bit of sort of like an Inspector Morse Oxford. There's a body in every corner almost. But anyway, that doesn't mean death has to be all gloom, doom and depression. It's just one of those things which is there. We have other characters who sort of like approach it as a bit more stoically, a bit more matter-of-factly. Like some Boombox Betty talks about death. You know, it's just one of those things. Spliff, Sam's best friend, you know, a parish priest. Again, he has no issues with death. It's one of those things. It's one of those processes. But to Sam, it's almost like that final curtain, even though there's more beyond it. And what comes after it could be worse than what you've had before if you've not done the right things going up to it. And I don't think he likes the idea of spending an eternity, which can be full of regret. So anyway, that's, I suppose, rather profound for one of these little videos. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understood it. I'll watch this back over and go, oh dear Lord, what was I saying? But anyway, take care. Keep looking for what lurks in the shadows of Lancaster, and indeed the shadows of where you live. Again, don't forget, like and subscribe. And there's more details over on the website, aschambers.co.uk. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.